Alright guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be creating a video kind of just to update my Jax guide that I made previously. There's just a lot of things that kind of have changed that I never talked about on my YouTube. I've talked about a lot of stuff on Twitter, but on my YouTube, and a lot of new things that I do, and a lot of old things that I used to do that I don't do anymore. So I want to kind of give an update and let you guys know, like, what I've learned and what I've been doing. Because when I made the guide, I played Jax for about like 2 weeks straight, and now, ever since that guide, I've like only played Jax. So I have a lot of new stuff that I could like talk about. Also at the end, I'm kind of gonna do like a little Q&A type of thing because there's a lot of questions about consistency, execution, and little like tips that I can give people because I get a lot of messages about like um, conversions and stuff dropping and all this stuff. So I could help with that a little bit at the end. So I'm going to go over some questions. So if you're having trouble, stay tuned to the end because I might answer what you need. But yeah, other than that, let's get into it. Okay, so starting out, let's talk about stuff to do on block and what has changed. So, as we all probably should know by now, this no longer works on crouching opponents. So if you do something like this, it'll never launch them. It used to launch on crouching, which made it very, very good. So to the point where if you grinded it out and you actually got the setup down, um, it would be very, very rewarding. Now they took it out, they nerfed Jack's Cameo so that he cannot launch people when they actually make the choice to crouch block because that is how you're supposed to beat this Cameo, at least ground pound wise. So what I start to do now, I just start to go for things that give me general chip and knockdown situations. So instead of going for something like this, I just go for like something like this. I'm close, so I could get follow up, I could get pressure, I could grab them, I can do whatever I want. Um, Similar things that you can do is off a 2-4 line 2. You could do that. You could do it off a back 2-4. And if he is stand blocking, put that on all, put that on stand. As we know, I talked about this before, this actually jails, so they cannot press anything right there. And you could actually call Jax and do the same thing there, put them in a knockdown situation. It's very good, gives you a lot of free chip damage, and that's mainly the way I use Jax on block nowadays. So another thing that I wanted to mention about these Jax block strings, where you can avoid the ground pound, is that some of them you can actually react to your opponent getting hit and full combo launch them if you win the spin meter. So if I did 2-4 and I called Jax after my second hit of my 2-4 1-2, and then I was to notice my opponent got hit, I can actually launch them with EXS. So something like this, and notice he got hit, I launch him in the combo. I can continue to follow up. Jax is still on the screen. He'll come back for one more ground pound now, and then I can play around that as well. It's actually pretty good. You can do the same thing off of your standing 4. So if you notice this, he got hit, I launch him like that, jump on 1-2, Jax is still on the screen, I get to play around it. You can do that with a couple of things. But yeah, those are some things that I want to mention because if you notice it, you can incorporate it, and that's actually very good. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to talk about was going to be using Square Wave after Jack's call. I briefly mentioned it in my original video because it reverses your opponent's inputs and makes them unable to hit your Jacks while giving you a way to escape. This is a lot more relevant than I even thought it was back then, and as I've grown with this character, I use it a lot more. So calling Jacks and doing Square Wave leaves you at a distance where Jacks can't hit you. Well, he can hit you if you swerve into the corner. That's not true, but he won't hit you generally around the screen. It's a pretty safe option, and it baits your opponent to jump. So since you're out of range and you're sitting over here, if they try to jump, then you can just standing to anti-air them and full combo them. You can also, it would also hits people out the air because people like to try to jump when they see Jacks. So then you go for Square Wave and it just hits them because they're trying to jump. Not to mention, you can also use it in setups. So if I do something like this, Jax will be over here. I'm safe. It'll hit my opponent. Also, I'm completely fine. They can jump out of it, but if they choose to jump at that range, then you can just anti-air them and full combo them. It's a very, very safe option. If they crouch block, they just get knocked down and you get Oki. It is very good. You can even mention it after the thing I just mentioned before, which if you hit confirm this, you can dash and do the same thing. Now you're over here, and they get hit, you can combo them, or if they jump, you can anti-air them. It is very, very good, and I want to see a lot more people using it because if you watch my general gameplay, I use it a lot, like a lot. It keeps me very safe, and it gives me a lot of free damage. So we're in the corner now, so that means we're gonna be talking about the unblockable setup. So I created the setup back when I originally picked up Jax. I posted it, a lot of people thought it was crazy, but Kitana has a setup with a lot of characters. It's just that Jax is the most consistent one. But this unblockable setup is very good. Not only is it armor breaking and unblockable, but there's a couple more things that I want to kind of speak about that I never spoke about then. So if you guys haven't seen the setup, basically off of any confirm, you could go into Jax call, set a 1-bomb under their feet, and you could grab your opponent into it. Now, there's only a couple of ways to get out of this setup in general, and none of them are ever in your opponent's favor. And that's what I want everybody to realize. This setup is very, very disgusting. So one of the ways that I tell people to get out of it is going to be to delay wake up. If you mix up your delay timings and Kitana goes to grab you when you delay rise, her grab will whiff, and you have to block the wind bomb, and then you could go from there. If she times it for delay rise and you normal rise, you block the wind bomb before she grabs you, and you can steal your turn back. So here's what it looks like when they delay rise. Cool. So they still can't just mash because they'll get hit. However, they can block the wind bomb. See that? This introduces something that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of, because when I tell you I hit people with this so often, it's ridiculous. So I'm going to set Kenshi to mash. This is as quick as he can poke because he's punishing my down one. So if I was to do the exact same setup, you guys can see, forward 1 jailed. They cannot mash. You are still plus. And if they attempt to mash, they will die. So that is something that I want you guys to realize, meaning that if you're playing Kitana and you do this setup and you just always time it for the normal rise, you will always be in a situation that is in your favor. They can't do anything about it. If they delay rise, you cannot armor as soon as you delay it. Wake up, you would have to delay it a little bit. So you still take your turn back and you are completely fine. So what I started to do was I now just time my throw on that unblockable setup for a normal rise every single time. If they delay wake up, that's completely fine. You have to block this wind bomb or you get launched anyways, and once you block the wind bomb, it still isn't your turn because I could forward 1 check you. This is hit confirmable. This is actually Kitana's highest damaging starter. It does more damage than 2-4-1-2 in itself. And then I only ever time my grab for delay rise if I'm 100% sure that the delay wake uping every single time. Then I will start to actually, okay, well, I'm going to grab you anyways and relaunch you that way. But other than that, this is very safe. This is a very, very good setup. And there's only one way that I've seen somebody post to get out of it, and I'm going to shut that down completely right now. So let's get into that. One way that was posted for this specific setup, like it's kind of funny, it was posted for our setup, was to wake up with a Cameo assist that has an inbound wake up. There's a couple, there's Kung Lao, Motaro, Serena, Sonya, Sub-Zero even has one. I think that might be it though. And you can wake up and it will completely avoid the setup. So I do something like this. And I go for the grab. He can wake up with this and he'll be completely fine. But I want you to take a look at this situation and just actually grasp what's going on. So he hit me and he got out of the setup. Neutral is reset, so he's not getting any Yoki. I lose 5% of my life and we're completely fine. But as I just showed you guys, that wind bomb after the setup, if they block it, you're still plus. So it introduces an option that you just do nothing. If you just literally go for the setup, set wind bomb under their feet, and then see what they do, you can just block any armored attempt. And if they try to do this, they will get punished because they're all full combo punishable on block. Every Cameo wake up is punishable. It's like the worst situation, the worst answer you can possibly use. And if somebody wants to dare to try to use this against you, you can punish them hard. So for example, let's say I do just a normal combo into wind bomb, and I block. And I hit this Kung Lao Cameo, so he can't break, by the way. Oh, I dropped it. No, no. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Can't break. There you go. Mind you, I just killed you. Like, you just got two touched because you tried to wake up with something that you shouldn't be waking up with at all. So, yeah, I wanted to introduce the option of you guys, when you go for this unblockable setup and you see people are trying to do something, you're completely fine to just block and see what they do. If they just sit there and block your fan bomb, you are once again plus. You jail with forward 1-2 because it's hit confirmable and it does a shit ton of damage if you hit them. So, like, if they try to mash out of that fan bomb and get hit by something like this damage is not something you want to casually take. 1 bar 55% because you got hit for trying to mash. So this setup is very, very, very good. Please continue tagging me and all of the people you hit with this. It's so hilarious. I retweet them every single time because I just think it's so fucking funny. There's really no way that you can answer this that isn't in your favor as a Kitana player. So if you literally play Jack's Cameo and just go for the setup all day, you will still win. Like, even if you don't want to perfect everything else, try to perfect this because it is important.
Can you do no
All right,
better?
so let's get into some questions. Before I do that, I just want to give a general thought of how I feel about Jax right now. Back then, I said his issues were the lack of pressure and the inconsistencies, but honestly, he feels very consistent now. Now that I'm not relying on these unblockable setups involving ground pound and all this stuff, like, it feels a lot more comfortable and the damage is kind of irreplaceable. And as far as the topic of him being her best cameo, I would still say Kung Lao is probably better right now, maybe Striker. Just for me, those two cameos are so incredibly boring that I just can't bring myself to play them. So for somebody who likes set play and likes just being rewarded for a very strong neutral, it works for me. But let's get into the questions. After these questions, I'm just going to close out the video. So let's do that real quick. So a big question that I get asked a lot is about specifically this combo. People have a hard time connecting the back 2-4 and 2 defend left. Oh, let me take that off. I don't want him to be spinning every single time. Basically, all you have to do is call Jax in between the first and second hit of your pirouette. So, like, just like that, every single time. And then you could dash back 2-4, then back 1. You can notice Jax is getting hit, so he's like falling down on the floor because I'm hitting that of his animation. That's perfect. You want that to happen. And after you see that, it should be very, very consistent. I don't have a problem ever really doing it. And if you do not want to go for it or for some reason you still can't get it, just start doing 1-1. That's how I started off. 1-1 and 2, down back 1. Completely fine. You lose like 3-4%, but consistency is the most important thing. So if you can't do anything else, just go for this. You can prolong it with your fan still and all types of stuff. So that's basically how I do that combo. I don't have any problems, so hopefully that helps you guys. I'm not sure really what else I could do to help with timing. So another question I get a lot is if any of my combos have changed. So in general, going from my original guide to now, most of my combos are the exact same. I haven't changed up very much of anything. The only thing that I do more is I spend meter to prolong my combos so I can get more corner carry and just a little bit more damage. That's about it. So after any like fan lift, I just spin the bar. So not every single time, but a lot of the time. So I'll do something like this. I spin the bar, simple and 1-2. I get more corner carry and a little bit more damage. Other than that, if you went back to my other guide, you're completely fine to watch all those combos, besides obviously the launching unblockable combos, because they don't work anymore. So everything else though, you should be good to go. Nothing's changed. So another question I get asked a lot is my opinion on matchups and have they changed now that I have more time with the Cameo. Same as my other guide, I still think Jax is a general use Cameo. I just main him. I don't use him to counter pick anything. So Other than that, the idea of having a armored launcher is very huge, though, for specific matchups like Johnny Cage and even Kenji to an extent. But we know Sento's broke as fuck. But like the threat of being able to launch somebody off of your armored move for around 28 or 20 to 30% is very, very good. So it slows down a lot of matchups. Other than that, I still feel the same. General use, I don't really use him to counterpick anything in particular still. All right, so one of the last questions, or probably the last question, is just going to be people's question about picking other cameos over Jax and when you should and when you shouldn't. Now, in particular, a lot of people still ask me about Goro. I still, yes, use Goro every now and then. However, now that I feel like I've perfected Jax almost, I don't really need to switch very often. And a lot of the times when I do switch, it's hindering me more than helping me. Just due to the fact that I can play off of the entire concept that if I hit you one time in the corner, I will kill you. So that's what I really play off of. Other than that, like you can pick whatever cam you want. Like you don't have to main Jax. And a lot of people ask for a specific answer of whether something's better than something else. It just depends on how you play. If you're great at zoning, play Kung Lao. If you want heavy pressure, play Kano, play Striker. If you want just strong confirms and set play Jax. As far as the best, Kung Lao and Striker all day because that's the meta right now. But other than that, just play what you want. All right, thank you guys for watching. I am so sorry that I haven't been uploading as much as I probably should. I just lots of work and shit. So, um, yeah, but this wasn't really a guide in particular. It was more so an update. My other guide is still fully able to be used outside of some specific things that I needed to update with this video. But other than that, you guys should still be good to go. If you have any questions, you guys can feel free to reach me at Twitter at Aroma, or you could just comment. I usually am a little bit slower to reply to YouTube comments just because I'm not always on the app, but I am always on Twitter because I am addicted. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. I will be sure to upload some more stuff soon. I have some sets and other cool things, and I will be on Chameleon. But yeah, thank you.